Hey everyone, ELD here with a quick take about the banned restricted announcement that just happened this past Monday. No script, no cuts, off the cuff, let's do this. One take, Pioneer, Standard, no change, do not care. Nobody plays those formats in my store unless there's an RCQ tied to it. And right now, the next 3 months, we have modern RCQs to worry about, and Underworld Breach will not be part of them because, let's be honest, this was the best deck in the format by a mile. Everybody was prepared for it. It was still dominant. And on top of that, this is in the conversation for being the best deck of all time relative to the field. I'm talking about head and shoulders above in a level. It's not a slam dunk, but I'm talking about this is in the conversation with decks like Tolarian Academy, where you're just doing the correct thing. If you were not playing with this deck, I question your motives. Was this just a social outing? Were you trying to win the tournament? Because this card was just on a completely different level, with Mox Opal being able to win on the first turn, just made this a farce, and obviously what you should have been doing, and if you weren't, that is something you should think about. Up next, Sowing Mycospawn. This card is so badly designed, and I guess this isn't really the point of the review, but just to reiterate, they could have changed literally any words on this at random, and it would have improved the design of this card. They had to try to make this unbalanced and deeply unfun to play against. I mean, if it had an ETB, if it couldn't exile basic lands, if your land came into play tapped, if it only searched up basic lands. I mean, there's so many different things that they could have done. It's got 2 different cast triggers, so you can't even like stifle the one cast trigger. The card's a dumpster fire, and I don't think anybody is going to miss it. Get on your bike and ride Sowing Mycospawn. Just unbelievable that they printed this thing. That said, the question of all of these legacy bans are they going to be enough to revive interest in the format? We are a legacy store, and right now, Premodern is actually doing better than Legacy by a lot. Like, our Legacy numbers have been dwindling. Now, part of that is the fact that the YouTube channel hasn't been up and running. All the time, people find the store because of the channel. And really, I think what happens is you have a kind of natural decay in Legacy. You probably lose 1 or 2 people to life in general. People take a break. That's a great thing about Legacy. Somebody can not play for a year and come back, and their cards are still good. At least that was part of the format identity previously. It's a little less true now thanks to Modern Horizons and its impact. But that said, right now, it's down, and we definitely need to rebuild that up. And I think that's the lens that these bans should be seen through. And to that end, I do think taking control of Khazad-dûm out of the format is probably for the best. While this isn't the type of card that I've been losing to, because I tend to play things that are much better than the clock that Troll sets. I mean, other people are trying to do things like block their opponent's creatures, and Troll was really hard to block. I mean, he would come out on the second turn, very low cost, and just trounce people in a way that people found to be pretty unfun. And, you know, when Reanimator has to move all in and like resolve like an Entomb and an Animate Dead, and they're throwing real cards and effort at things, that is a very different thing than just smoothing out their mana base flawlessly and just having a Reanimate always be live. So if you could stop the Entomb, their Reanimate was dead. They have to draw both of them. There's a lot that needs to go right. Troll makes it so things are kind of always on easy mode, and this will definitely hurt the deck. That said, if you are a fan of black-blue, deck's still going to be fine. You have Bowmasters, Tameo, Murktide Regent, tied together with Brainstorm, Ponder, Force, and Daze. Like, blue-black tempo's not going anywhere. It's still going to be a great deck. The question is, are these 2 bans enough to revive interest in the format? And I don't have the answer for that. We're going to see. The channel's back up and running. I'm doing everything I can do to encourage people to play Legacy. I still think it's a great answer. I mean, Legacy and Vintage both are the answer to the same question. They just answer it differently. What is the purest form of Magic? And in Legacy, we ban cards if they're too good. And in Vintage, they get restricted. Very few exceptions. Occasionally you ban something. We'll get back to that at the end of the video. But that said, I think Legacy right now is probably the thing that you can actually play every week kind of have that be your relationship with Magic. Vintage, it does take a special type of gamer to have that be their primary way that they play Magic. It's so powerful, it's so over the top, and I think Legacy has kind of a more reasonable power level for people to engage with consistently without getting burnt out. On to Pauper, Basking Brood Scale. This guy, I mean, it was a comical combo piece. Being able to just get infinitely large while getting infinite mana. I mean, it was a lot. It was broken stuff. That is part of the fun of Pauper, is being able to do really broken stuff. But there's plenty of other combo decks, and I think this one probably did need to go. I think they're trying to maintain interest in the format. They've got a little bit of a better approach to that in Pauper than we do in Legacy. I think if we had a community-driven panel, they probably would have done more about Legacy than we've seen. I mean, we lost Psychic Frog, Grief, and now Troll from the same deck, and it's still going to be top tier. So they could definitely meddle more and have the community's interest at heart in terms of what is going to get people to show up. And that's really what the effort was here, is Basking Brood Scale as a deck. They think it's a little too good. I'm not opposed to that at all. I think it was a fun deck. It was, I think, kind of neutral, but if it ends up with more people playing Pauper, I'm in favor of it. I really think the pool is so big in Pauper that if you lose a card, like banning a card that doesn't deserve to be banned, does not offend me that much because of the depth of the pool and just the huge amount of variety. Also, Kuldotha Rebirth, I think, kind of fits into that category. And either of these cards down the line, maybe they unban them. Like we did have some unbans in this cycle. And I think the most important thing is people actually playing in the format. Mono Red is kind of in a way like a sneaky best deck where like Affinity just keeps getting hammered over time in Pauper, where it's just like obviously that's the boogeyman. But like Mono Red also a bit of a boogeyman, and getting this out of there does stop them from going wide as easily. I think it's totally fine. And like I said, these are not life and death decisions. If they put them back on, if they take them off of the ban list, like that is a totally reasonable thing to do in the future if we feel like they just don't deserve to be on there anymore. Deadly Dispute, this is the only one that I really have a strong opinion about, as it was a core to a lot of decks. There are some decks that probably aren't really playable without this in terms of their ability to sacrifice and draw cards as part of their engine. But most of those will morph into different builds. So I'm looking at, say, there's a couple of Tron decks that I had that utilize this as a real draw engine. And honestly, in that deck, I guess you can just run Reckoner's Bargain. It's not the end of the world. It's just a little bit less efficient. This is basically an Ancestral Recall for 1 mana. I mean, you were sacrificing an artifact that was going to draw you a card. It draws 2. You're getting a Lotus Petal treasure to be able to get mana out of. So you net pay 1 mana. And sometimes it works as ramp, too, because you don't have to sacrifice that petal right away. So the card was unbelievably good. There are close substitutes. It will be fine. But this one was really, really powerful. Super fun to play. And it did feel unfair when you were doing it. So I think I'm at least happy that I got to play with this card a ton. I had a bunch of decks that ran it, but totally understandable that they gave it the axe. And we're going to measure this based off of interest in Pauper. I think overall that's going to be the important thing. Prophetic Prism is unbanned. I don't know that that's going to bring a ton of people back, but I think it's one of the worst cards, if not the worst card to ever be banned in a format. I mean, this will go back into Tron, which is really all it was doing. And, in Tron, it's basically an Astrolabe because you do have the extra mana floating around. And then High Tide, a very interesting unban. This is the type of thing that I like to see. So I don't know that it's actually going to be good. I don't think it actually matters. What I think matters is people are going to try. They're going to brew. They're going to try and make this good. If it somehow ends up being too good, then they can put it back on the list. But in all likelihood, it won't be. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it won't even be playable, but it'll get interest into the format. People will play, and that, I think, is what you want. I think the banned list should be about community engagement for a format like Pauper. Get people playing, get people talking, and this reminds me a lot of Mind's Desire getting unbanned in Legacy, which is probably the last time that I can think of that people were, like, incredibly positive about Legacy. I mean, that's almost 2 years ago now. think it was 2023, like the summer of 2023. And I mean, people were stoked to try that out. And it didn't end up being good at all. Like, it's barely played. I mean, almost unplayed entirely. Maybe like a sideboard slot and like a Burning Wish decks. But it got people excited in playing. And I think that's a great goal right now for Pauper. There are some other cards that can be taken off, and I hope that they continue to do that and get people excited in brewing. And yeah, I look forward to hearing your thoughts on all of these. I'm going to wrap up briefly on Vintage. I don't want it to be sour grapes. Lurrus, as a card, what I've been thinking about, that's really the only question in my mind as far as managing the format right now. What other card could you add 3 mana to and still have it be so good that it needs to be potentially banned in Vintage, or really any format? I mean, I can't think of anything. You add 3 mana to Ancestral Recall, it's not even playable. Time Walk becomes Time Warp. Lurrus, because of the nature of Companion, is so absurd that adding 3 mana to it, it still is one of the best things that's ever been an option to do in Magic the Gathering. It is an egregious design mistake. I think that kind of transcends all other design mistakes, just on a completely different level. Restricting the card doesn't even fix it. Like, that's how much of an error it is. Like Tolarian Academy, as I mentioned earlier, one of the most absurd Magic cards ever printed, a huge error, but restricting it at least addresses some of those concerns. Whereas Lurrus, it is just absolutely absurd, terrible design from the get-go. So I don't have the answer. I don't know. Legacy, obviously, they banned it. Vintage is the format where you get to play mistakes, but man, that is one hell of a mistake. So I look forward to hearing what you all think in the comments. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.